Hola, chicas. So I'm going to give you a quick lesson to catch you up on what we did on Friday while you were gone. On Friday, we learned to use affirmative to commands. This is how you're going to tell people what you want them to do. Now, because we're talking about to commands, there are only certain people that we can use this with. If you remember, we have two ways to say you. Tu is more informal, and usted is more formal. So when we use the to commands, we'll be talking mainly to our family members, our friends, and people younger than us. You would not use these commands with Mr. Kilgore or President Obama or a teacher, anybody who is in a position of respect or authority. You're not going to use these words for this. So, this is pretty simple. What we're going to do is you take your infinitive verb, and there's two ways to look at this, but I'm going to say we're going to conjugate it in the to form. So, hablar would be hablas. Then all you have to do to make it into a command is we're going to take off the S and add exclamation points. So your command form of hablar is habla. Let's do the same thing with leer and escribir. Leer, our to form, because it's an ER verb, is going to be leyes. To make it into a command, we're going to take off the S and add our exclamation marks. So our final form, if we want to tell somebody to read, we'll just say lee. Finally, let's try it with an IR verb. You'll remember that IR verbs have the same endings as ER verbs. So if we start with escribes, we're just going to have to take off that S, add our exclamation points, and we end up with our final escribe. Now, the other way to look at this is really what you're doing is you're using the el, ella, and usted form. We're just going to know through context and through the exclamation marks that we're commanding somebody to do something. The other thing that we talked about, I'm going to erase this, so if you need to pause the video and copy it down, you're welcome to. But the other thing that we talked about is just a couple of irregulars. Now, there are only two that you're responsible for this year. We're going to learn the irregular of hacer, like hacer la cama. You'll remember that hacer means to do or to make. And then we also learn the irregular of poner, like poner la mesa, set the table. Poner means to put or place. In this context, it means to set. So our irregular for hacer is haz. That's just one that you have to memorize. So if we want to say make the bed, we're going to say haz la cama. The irregular form of poner is pon. So if you wanted to tell somebody set the table, you'll say pon la mesa. Now, this actually has some reasoning behind it. Poner is a yogo verb. This is another thing that we looked at on Friday. It's completely regular, except in the yo form, it's pongo. And for the majority of yogo verbs, to make the command, we just take off the go. So we put this in a little cloud that we call the cloud of honors information, things that you don't actually need to know until Spanish 2, but you guys know some other go verbs as well. Like for tener, the yo form is tengo, and for venir, the yo form is vengo. Those are going to act in the same way. So if you want to command somebody have caution, you'll just take off the go and your command is 10. If you want to command somebody come, you'll just take off the go and your command is ven. So like I said, that's like kind of a little honors cloud of things that you don't need to know yet. I'm just showing it to you because we're learning poner and pon. But as long as you know pon and haz, then you'll be good to go. That's pretty much it for commands, but if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know in class tomorrow, and I'll be glad to sit down and look at it with you. Go ahead and try the homework on these, and I will give you feedback on that as well. Thank you so much for putting in this extra time, and I hope you have a great night. Bye-bye.